It was a crisp spring morning when 68-year-old Harold Dawson opened his window to let in the fresh air. The scent of blooming tulips from his small backyard garden drifted in, blending with the subtle aroma of his brewing green tea. Though retired, Harold had never been more alive. He didn't wear his years like a burden. They sat on him like medals from a life well lived. Harold wasn't always like this. Just a few years ago, he was slumped in his recliner more often than not, watching television reruns, his spirit dimming with each passing day. After he turned 65, everything seemed to hit at once: aches in his joints, trouble sleeping, difficulty concentrating. Worse yet, he felt invisible, as if the world had turned its back on him. His wife, Linda, had passed away the year he retired. They'd been together for 40 years, and losing her was like losing part of himself. For a while, Harold just floated, eating frozen dinners, declining phone calls from his kids, avoiding walks in the neighborhood they used to take together. It wasn't until a letter arrived from his granddaughter Emily, handwritten with uneven loops and glittery stickers, that something shifted. "Dear Grandpa Harold," she had written, "I miss your smile. I wish you could come to my dance recital next month. Mommy says you're tired a lot, but I know if you try a little every morning, you'll feel like Superman again. Believe in you. Love, Emily." That letter stayed on Harold's fridge. Something in those innocent words stuck with him. And so began his transformation, not through expensive supplements or miracle drugs, but by adopting what he later called his morning success fuel. Harold's new life began with the sunrise. Every morning at 6:30 a.m., he did something so simple yet powerful. He stood outside on his porch, barefoot on the grass, with a cup of warm water and lemon. The grounding of his feet on the earth, combined with the light stretch of reaching for the sun, made him feel rooted, connected to life again. He added a gratitude walk next, 15 quiet minutes around the block, during which he whispered aloud the things he was thankful for. "Thank you for my legs that still move. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for Emily." Neighbors started noticing him again. Mrs. Jennings from across the street began waving. Her dog Max would run over for a morning pat. People didn't see a frail old man. They saw a man fully alive. The key to Harold's change wasn't magic. It was consistency, mindset, and something he discovered in a book called Awaken the Inner Fire After 65. It talked about morning activation routines, and how certain habits could drastically extend both the span and quality of life. The concept was simple: wake up, move your body, feed your soul, and activate your purpose. So Harold began journaling. Just 5 minutes a morning. He would write, "Today I will move with strength, speak with kindness, and look for light." He started doing light yoga stretches, following a free online video by a woman named Grace Mitchell, who specialized in senior mobility and energy boosting. Harold couldn't believe how good he felt afterward, like he'd oil-canned every creaky part of himself. He swapped his sugar cereal for a smoothie with spinach, banana, flaxseed, and a touch of peanut butter. That one breakfast change gave him stable energy all morning. No more naps at 10 a.m. When he spoke to his doctor during his next annual checkup, Dr. Baker was stunned. "Harold, your blood pressure's down, your cholesterol's better, and your resting heart rate is impressive. What are you doing differently?" "I call it my morning success fuel," Harold grinned. "It's just a little movement, gratitude, and the right fuel in the morning." Inspired, Dr. Baker asked Harold if he would speak at the local wellness center's monthly senior vitality group. Harold chuckled, public speaking at nearly 70. But he said yes. At the wellness talk, Harold met others his age who were aching for a reason to change. His story was simple, yet his passion contagious. One man, George, said, "I thought my best years were behind me. But maybe they don't have to be." That's when Harold realized something bigger was happening. He wasn't just transforming his own life. He was planting seeds in others. He joined a walking group and brought his morning rituals to them. A few minutes of breathing, simple affirmations, gentle stretches before the walk. People laughed at first, but then they started showing up early to join him. They called themselves the Morning Lifers. Harold also reconnected with his children. He started FaceTiming Emily once a week, watching her practice pirouettes and blowing kisses at the screen. That year, he attended her recital, tears in his eyes, feeling younger than he had in decades. He started volunteering once a week at the local library, helping younger seniors learn how to use tablets and smartphones. And every morning without fail, Harold did his routine: fresh air, hydration, movement, gratitude, nourishment, and connection. Years passed, and at age 78, Harold looked like a man in his late 60s. He had a sparkle in his eyes and energy that surprised even him. He didn't chase youth. He honored his age but didn't surrender to decline. When Emily graduated high school, Harold wrote her a letter in return. "Dear Emily, thank you for believing in me. That one letter changed my life. You gave me 30 more years, not just to live but to thrive. I hope one day, when you feel tired or lost, you'll remember that every morning is a new chance to begin again. Just take one breath, one step, one grateful thought." Harold became something of a local legend, not because he ran marathons or climbed mountains, but because he showed people the power of small, consistent morning choices. His life became a reminder that vitality isn't an accident. It's built with intention. The phrase "morning success fuel" began popping up in local wellness newsletters. A young podcaster invited Harold to speak on her channel, and his episode quickly became one of the most downloaded in her Longevity and Light series. People across generations were touched by his journey, not because he had some grand secret, but because he lived the truth: that energy, purpose, and health after 65 are possible. Not just possible, but attainable for anyone willing to give the first 30 minutes of their morning to self-care. Now in his early 90s, Harold still rises with the sun. He can't stretch quite as far as he used to, and sometimes he needs a cane on longer walks, but his smile is undiminished. He continues to journal, to move, to sip warm lemon water, and to whisper thank yous into the wind. And every now and then, a stranger will stop him on the sidewalk and say, "Hey, are you the guy who talks about the morning fuel thing? My dad started that last year. He's like a new man." Harold always grins and replies, "It's never too late to feel alive again." And that was his legacy. Not just in his family, not just in his neighborhood, but in the lives of thousands who saw his story as proof that after 65, life isn't ending. In fact, with the right morning routine, it might just be beginning again.